Love is in the air, and Asians are at the box office. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Every week we open with a song. Oh, yeah.
It's a party in here.
Wow, strobe lights.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3 of the longest naming show of all time, LAOFCS Weekly, episode 3. Thank you for tuning in. It is a love-filled episode this week. Everything's about rom-coms, everything's about love, and we're ready to talk about it. But first, I am Scott Menzel. I am the founder of this wonderful organization, and today I have two wonderful members with me. I have Wendy Lee and Michael Lee.
Hi, happy to be here.
Hello.
So go ahead, introduce yourselves, tell us where we can find you.
Hi, you guys. I'm Wendy Lee Zaney. You can find me on YouTube at the Movie Couple channel, where my husband and I talk about movies, trailer reactions, and so much more.
Hi, I'm Michael Lee, and you can find me at geekisdoom.com or that'sitla.com.
Very nice, guys. So how the show works, just in case you haven't tuned in yet, it's basically a segment show. We do 4 different segments. There's the movie pick of the week, which is what we open up with. And how that works is we, as a group, we have a Facebook page, and it's private, so no one else can see it. And essentially, we put all the movies that come out for this week and every week, and we vote on them. And we have a movie pick of the week, and that's going to be said in just a few seconds. The other sections of this, the little segments that we're doing, is Indie Spotlight, where we shine a light on something that could be either streaming, it's new in theaters, or it's new to Blu-ray. And then finally, we have a Retro Rewind, which is an older movie that we love, something that we're passionate about, that we want to recommend to people to revisit. And this whole week, it's going to be romantic comedy themed, and which is why the final special topic is going to be romantic movies, where we're just going to keep gushing over romantic movies. So, without further ado, do we have our little drum roll ready to go?
I could make one.
All right, movie pick of the week time. Yes, you can't guess it. It is Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
So I'm going to shut the hell up right now, and I'm going to turn it over to Wendy and Michael. What were your initial thoughts on Crazy Rich Asians?
Well, I've been a reader of the book. Like, the second I heard they were making the movie, I'm like, all right, this is what I do every time there's a book adaptation, or not every time, but I try, because there's so many books out there, and I only have so little time. But then I was like, all right, I have a long commute. Let me download it, an audiobook. I listened to it, and I became so obsessed over it that I downloaded book 2 and 3, and I finished it all in time for this movie. So I was beyond excited to see kind of how the book plays out on screen for the adaptation. I was beyond excited to see this all-Asian cast come together and see how they're going to play out on the screen, because it's not like they're just like, these are, in my eyes, really, really talented actors. Constance Wu, I love her on Fresh Off the Boat. Like, she kills it as Jessica Huang. And Michelle Yeoh, you can't, like, she does no wrong in my eyes. So right there, you already had my ticket, and you added on all the other actors and actresses and the director. I was like, I'm sold. This is like one of the movies I was most looking forward to this year.
Yeah. How about for you, Mike?
I loved it as well. What I was surprised about is that now in 2018, it took 25 years, more or less, to get to this point, and that really speaks to the whole, lack of representation that we've been, seeing. And now that we have it, I'm hoping to see, more films not only speak to the Asian experience, but just having Asian characters just as part of the community, that they just happen to be Asian. And so as for the film itself, I like that it explored, that it was so layered really nicely, and it explored so many dichotomies, basically. I said this in my initial tweet, that it goes with the dichotomies of Asian versus Asian American, social class, rich versus commoner, and the not identity, but upbringing, basically, traditional versus I don't want to say contemporary, but more circumstantial in regards to Rachel Chu's character. As I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's just circumstantial, basically, in her upbringing. So I was surprised that it brought in all those perspectives so nicely, and it didn't really say which one was right, which one was wrong. It just brought in more sympathetic points of view, basically, and I really appreciated that. As an Asian American, I was just like, wow, I can really relate to that story, because every time I go overseas, I can feel that sort of distance, especially since I am a banana per se. I am such a banana, and it's there is that gap that I don't really speak the Indonesian language very well, and I can see it. There's that. I keep going to the same gap, but it's just they look at you, not look at you differently. It's addressed in the film that they see you differently, even though you have the skin, and yet this film addresses that so eloquently and so beautifully. And I was like, wow, I just love it.
Yeah, to speak from like my own experience, I grew up, I was born and raised in Taiwan, but I came over at such a young age. At this point, like when I go home, I'm considered Asian American because I've been so like westernized, because I like gone to school here. Like my Chinese definitely is not as good as it used to be. I can still read it, I can still write it. My handwriting is awful now, but I can still communicate, but not as well as I used to. Like when I used to be able to like speak Chinese really eloquently, and now it's like elementary, because that's when I left. So that's about the skill that I have. So I do, like, after watching this film, I was like, okay, first of all, I need to practice more. And two, I really saw where Rachel was coming from when she met Nick's family. And I was like, the expectations and their view on an Asian-born girlfriend versus an Asian-American girlfriend is quite different, because the mentality and your upbringing is different. I'm not saying one is better or worse. I'm just saying it's different.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing for me watching this movie is that this is a movie for everyone. And it's funny because every time a movie like this comes out, there's so much talk about, oh my God, what this means to the Asian community. And it's funny because as someone who grew up in a household where 4 of my brothers are black, it's weird to look at movies that way. I've never really had that mentality, like, oh, this is a black movie, this is an Asian movie and stuff like that. So when I'm watching this movie, I'm just like, this is a movie that everyone could appreciate.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that now we're like showing this. Like last week we talked about Black Klansman, and that movie, in the traditional days, before it would have been, that's a black movie. Now it's essentially everyone wants to see it.
Yeah.
And I think this movie has the potential of opening doors, that more of these types of movies can be made, and that people can forget what the person looks like on screen. Yeah. Forget the color of their skin. Forget, what their background is, and just appreciate it. But with that being said, as someone who was not familiar with the culture, I learned a lot from this movie. I like there's a scene, without spoiling anything, where they're sitting down and they're making dumplings together, and learning about how elaborate the weddings were, and the different social classes, and how their viewpoints on family and wealth are so much different than Asian Americans, where they're just kind of like, we're just trying to live the dream like everyone else here, and we want to do what we love. And, for Constance Wu's character to be constantly looked down upon because she has a good job. Yeah. Like, let's be real. She has a good job. She teaches economics at NYU, right? Yeah. It's like, that's not a bad job, but like to be kind of like looked upon like, oh, that's what you do? Oh, you follow your passion? Right. I just found that to be so incredibly relevant, especially to today, because I feel like younger generations, millennials specifically, are always struggling with that because they really want to follow their passions, and they're having a hard time. So I think this movie is very relatable to pretty much anyone, but I also loved that I got a little bit of a history lesson per se when I watched this movie.
Totally agree. And I love how rich it was in the culture. I I don't know as much about specifically Singaporean culture, so that kind of was eye-opening for me too. And just like I know the landscape and I know the city is beautiful, but like what really got to me in this movie was the food, because they kept on showing the food.
Oh my God!
And
yes.
I was just eating my popcorn. I'm like, this is so boring compared to what they're having on screen. So it's like the next time I go, I literally want to make a reservation at Din Tai Fung and then
my
watch
gosh.
that movie and then go eat some dumplings afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about that. I think that's a great way to experience it. Shout out to the Alamo Draft House for actually doing that. You know, I think that's great that they're actually inspired by this film. They actually created a menu just for this movie. And I was worried, you know, me and the other Michael Lee, who's not part of our group, you know, he was worried that it was just going to be like this racist menu, right? But they actually,
orange
but they actually did a very authentic menu.
Yeah.
So I'm really
looks
happy
really
about
good.
that. Going back to the food, man, when Rachel and Nick, right?
Yeah.
When they get to Singapore the first time and they go out with the friend and they sit down in that food court area, I was just like, man, where is this? I want to go just to eat that food.
And legit,
That is all real.
yeah.
That-
in
because-
Asia, I don't know how it is in Indonesia, but like in Taiwan, like we have street fairs, and I've been going to it since I was little, and it's just like street vendor after street vendor, and everything smells really good. And everybody's yelling at you because they want you to buy their stuff from their stall, not the person next to you who's selling the exact same thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, because I've been to Singapore once, like 10 years ago. So
Wow.
it is just as it looks, basically. So beautiful. It's always bustling, and you see friends just like picking over, each other, and it just feels so real because they shot it over there, obviously, and it's just everyone's just hard at work. And to the film's point, they said, there's 5-star Michelin people there, and it's just simple street food, and yet it's so tasty, so wonderful. It's not sophisticated in any sort of way, and that's what I appreciated, because it got into the heart of Singapore, basically, and it made it feel so real, and just puts that it doesn't focus on too much of the wealth, basically. That gets into it later, but it just shows this other side of people, that just hardworking, blue collar sort of people that are working there. Yeah.
Yeah, Maggie Ma, who's in our group, basically told me that my confusion in the beginning was what was going on in the beginning with the cell phone and how quickly everything was going on. I'm like, how did everyone know? And she said, no, that's very authentic. That's how it is.
authentic.
Even the
It's
color,
authentic,
just like,
It's like, my mom and I, we can't text because it's international. So we have, what do we have? We use Line, and it's because there's a time difference there too. So there's a little, I would have to say, there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief of how quickly that it got around. You have to suspend a little bit, but it's fun to kind of watch the frenzy of the text messages happening and social media all over the place. But it does spread, and that's literally how it is.
Yeah.
Like if I do something here and I tell my mom, or I tell a friend who knows my mom, or I post it on Facebook, and then every single person in my family knows, and they're asking me about this thing, and then it's turned into something else, and I'm like, wait, but what? I just posted one thing, and now everybody's blown it up to this whole big deal when it was nothing at all. And it happens over in course of a day or two.
That's funny.
Pretty much.
That was the one part I was like, how did this really go on? I'm like, does this really happen? So I was like, I asked Laura too, and it was just funny because they were like, no, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Word gets around very quickly, and I was like, oh, okay. Do you guys think that this movie has any chances for any awards?
I would like to think so. Maybe it wouldn't be up for something like an Oscar, Best Picture, but I would like to see
award.
it for. Oh God! Well, you know what? If that's the thing, it's gonna have a shot.
Right.
That's very true. But possibly for music and costume design,
Okay.
or set design or something
I think
like that.
set design too, because
Yeah.
just that wedding scene alone, which is in the trailer, that
It's
was
gorgeous.
so flawless and
Yes.
beautiful.
I can't believe how elaborate
crying,
that was.
Yeah.
literally crying during that scene. So
Yeah.
it was.
I really would love to see Constance Wu get something for this. I mean, I know it's a long shot. I mean, we've had already many strong female performances this year, and we're not even at award season yet.
Yeah.
So we have so many coming out. But I just thought her performance was so rich in terms of not only comedy, but the heart, and that scene where she had the standoff with Eleanor.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just like, again, not trying to spoil anything, but like it was just so emotionally powerful, and she just nailed it. She was just like, I'm a strong woman. I don't give a shit what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Constance Wu, she's definitely has a knack for comedy, which is what Fresh Off the Boat is. It's a sitcom, and she is so fantastic in that one. And I was thinking, can she make the switch to kind of the mainstream lead? And she's a very strong actress, and she's multidimensional, and also having to act opposite, actors like very well trained actress like Michelle. It's kind of like you got to think, you have to prepare yourself for doing a scene with her, because how do you not just like gaga eyes all over? You're like, oh my god, I'm talking to her, but I got to stay in my scene. And then also her co-star Henry, this was his first feature role. He was a travel TV host beforehand, so it's not like he's familiar with the space, but movie versus TV it's quite different. I would like to think so. I think he handled it really, really well too. Extremely charming. I was just like, every time he spoke, I felt like I melted a little bit with the British accent. I was like, oh my god, can we please just? So their dynamic and chemistry is so strong, and they made me tear up. I boohooed in the wedding scene. And there were no words. There were no words.
Yes, I know.
And I sat there, maybe the music too, because the music was gorgeous in that scene.
The way it came up, yes.
But I've seen the movie twice now, and I cried both times, and I'm like trying to hide my face. I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. Yeah.
No, I thought that it was just so well done. It takes a story. This is where I'll just be honest. Like, the story of this movie, for the most part, like, you kind of know where it's going.
I mean, it's a rom-com.
It's a rom-com. It's generic. But what makes rom-coms so great, as we'll talk about later on, is that the performances and the writing is so damn strong that you just can't help connect with every one of these characters. And this is one of the first films that I've seen in quite some time where I felt no matter how big the role is or how small the role is, everyone mattered and everyone brought their A game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially, well, in the book, like, Araminta played a huge part, and I love that it was Gemma Chen, and I think she brought this sophisticated and just air to Astrid that was in the book, and it's like they're just. It's like if you open the book to a dictionary and you look like Astrid, see Gemma Chen, and basically the same person, so elegant. And I also want to shout out Awkwafina, because she steals every single scene she was in. There's one particular scene, I've seen it twice now, right? Everybody busts out in the same scene. You guys know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. Like, the entire theater just erupts in laughter.
Oh, yeah.
Best scene ever.
Yeah. She's great. And I think she's going to have a really successful career ahead of her.
I think so.
So we do a rating of this out of 10. What would you guys say as your rating out of 10?
Oh, God. That's so hard. I will have to give this movie out of 10, right? You said?
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Okay.
I think, and it was already at a full 2 hours and 1 minute. And so this is more like me being really, really selfish, because there's other parts in the book that I really want to see play out more. There's certain characters that didn't quite have, I can't spoil it.
Yes, I know.
So, and
it's very
I don't
hard.
Yeah, so it's like me selfishly, I wish we could have had 3 hours of this, so the entire book would have played out exactly it was. But I also really like what they added to what they changed a little bit to make it work for the movies. So a 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
I would have to agree, 9 out of 10. I didn't read the book. I'm just starting to, actually, and
Yes.
it's so beautiful, and it's just, I recognize the slang because I overhear it with, it's just, I recall everything, and it's like, oh wow, that's what I used to say, or that's what I hear my friends or my cousins say. So yeah, it hits all those nuances really well, and I would have to say 9 out of 10 as well.
Yeah. Just a little bit lower, not much. 8.5 for me.
That's good.
I
score. Yeah.
I think this is
it's certified fresh.
It is certified fresh. It is a refreshing take on the rom-com.
Yeah.
I am for more of these movies. I know they have a planned multiverse of these movies coming.
And if you read the book, you would know why you need to stay through for the mid-credit scene.
Yes.
Stay through for that, and then watch the credits.
There you go.
Somebody has a really good agent.
Yeah, someone.
Let's just say.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to our next topic, we're going to do Indie Spotlight.
Okay.
Michael, since we open with Wendy, let's go with you.
I will have to say that my indie spotlight is To All the Boys I Loved Before. This is based on the Jenny Han book of the same name, and it features Lana Condor as the lead, playing Laura, and she is absolutely fantastic in this. And what I liked most about this was it reminded me of all those teenage rom-coms that I've watched before, and it had all those elements of the lovesick lead who has this fascinated, I guess, like a conflated idea of what a relationship is like, because she's watched so many rom-coms and read so many of these books before. So she doesn't, I guess it's sort of distorted, and she has this vision that it should be like this when it's really not. It's more complicated than that. And it, not to get too spoilery, but it's just basically like a 10 Things I Hate About You, or all those fake relationship movies where she has to, in order to avoid another crush, because she's basically in the film, she writes 5 letters to these people that to her crushes, but she never sends them out. And one day these letters get out, and in order to avoid one boy, she has to go into a fake relationship with another boy, another crush, and so it unravels in a way that she never expected, but at the same time, she learns more about herself and what relationships are like, and that not all things are what they appear to be, at least, or what she reads. And what I liked most about this is I saw, and speaking to Crazy Rich Asians, that there was an Asian lead. And going back to the idea of what I said about having more of their stories and everything, this had an Asian lead, but it never makes a point of saying, oh, I am Asian. And that's what I kind of appreciated about Crazy Rich Asians and this film. Crazy Rich Asians had its point of saying, this is an Asian film, we want to tell our story. And this one is not so much, but it's refreshing to see another person of color and minority at a lead role, and that's what I appreciated about this film.
Yeah. Did you see it, Wendy?
I've never seen it, and now this is going to be on my list, because I Googled it last night, and I was like, when I was prepping for this, I was like, oh, I don't have time to watch it, because I have to finish all these other movies. But I am definitely going to check this out. It looks like, I'm just looking at the picture now, and it just looks, it's got rom-com written all over it, and I am all for it.
I saw it.
And you didn't like it. Oh, Scott.
I did not like it. I'm sorry.
It was adorable, honestly.
I actually, they asked me to write a review, and I actually did not write a review for this movie because, sometimes, I work for an independent outlet. I run my own outlet, so I pretty much can pick and choose what I want to review, what I want to cover, and sometimes that's for the better, because I did not hate this movie. It just did not work for me. Okay. And what for me, they asked me to review it, and I said to them, I politely declined, and I said, listen, I did not like this movie. I said, my wife and I both watched it. She did not like this movie that much either. So I said, but I support the initiative here. I want more of these stories being told. So I'm not going to publicly go on record and say like, oh, I didn't like this, blah, blah, blah. So I just said, I appreciate the effort. I'm sure it's going to work for certain people. It didn't work for me.
But what was it exactly? Was it like the pacing, or just like the story, or the interactions between the characters?
The chemistry,
The struggle for me with the movie was just that I found it very slow.
Okay.
And I found it very predictable. And the main girl was really good, but I feel like all the secondary characters were very weak.
Okay.
And I didn't think the acting was very strong for them. So like some of the dialogue was a little cringy for me. And
is it too millennial?
Yeah, there is that generational gap between.
So it'd be great for the younger.
Yeah, I
because
think so.
social
Probably
media
be
does
great for me because I'm into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna like it, I think.
I think so. I mean, it was weird that both me and Ashley watched it. As we're we're suckers for romance. Like, let's just be honest. I recommend 2 weeks ago. I recommended Dog Days on the show because I love. I enjoyed it for what it was, but there was just this weird disconnect with me. And I felt bad. But it's weird because you look at this and you look at the hard work. It's based on a book. A lot of passion went into it. So. It's weird as a film critic because I'm a film lover first. I always say that. And when I watch a movie, and when it just doesn't work for me. Mm-hmm. Not that I think a movie's bad. It just didn't work. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like I wasn't sucked into it. It didn't the relationships
just
didn't work.
It
didn't speak to me.
It doesn't connect to you.
Yeah. And I was disappointed because I was hoping that oh my God, this is going to be another great movie, and I'm gonna fall in love with it. And this is just really being really transparent. About an hour in, I said to Ash, how much longer is this?
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. Sorry, but yeah. So Wendy, what's your pick?
My pick is Juliet Naked, and it's really funny because when I saw the title, I was like, "What is this?" And the title does not suggest to me romantic comedy at all.
No.
And so I was like, I'll give it a watch. I watched it. I love Rose Byrne. We were talking about her on Facebook earlier, and she's just crushes everything she's in. I think specifically comedy. Like she's got a real knack.
She's very versatile.
Comedy,
actually.
like in Bridesmaids. Yeah,
Bridesmaids,
she's hilarious. Ethan
Spy?
Hawke, Spy. Yeah, that's
Neighbors.
right. Neighbor. Oh my gosh, yeah.
She's the best part of Neighbors for me.
She just lights up the screen. I really watch. I like her because she pulls in the viewers and just like I kind of hang on to every word she says. Like I don't know if it's like the British accent or whatever, but in this movie specifically, I was like, yes, please talk more. She's in this movie with Chris O'Dowd, Ethan Hawke. So Chris O'Dowd and her, they're a couple. And he just does not treat her right. He doesn't abuse her, but he does not pay her enough attention because all of his time and attention goes to Tucker Crowe, this musician that he idolizes. He's got his own like room and shrine, you guys, dedicated. And I was like, but look at her. Like you're dating up, man.
Yeah.
Like take a look at your lady. And she's just kind of, I think, grown complacent in this relationship. So it wasn't until Juliet Naked came in a package, and they had a disagreement because of their opposing views on this record. They kind of started to their relationship started to crack more. I wouldn't say started to crack now because I feel like it already was.
Yeah.
And her and Tucker Crowe just meet in the most ironic yet unconventional way because they met via her boyfriend's blog dedicated to Tucker Crowe, and he was like, "I agree with what you say." And it's just nice to see that like internet relationship kind of it seemed just harmless because she just needed someone to talk to. Like her own boyfriend wasn't talking to her, and he paid attention to her, and he was like, you can have your opinion, I don't mind if we're opposing. And they were able to talk like adults. And I think she got a taste of like, I like this friendship, and then continued on. So I just really enjoy watching all three of them actually like blossom through the movie where, like everybody has their wins and everybody has their faults too. And this movie really explore everybody's faults where no one's perfect and there's growing pains, and you see when it comes to the end how everybody ends up, and it's not like the most perfect happy bubbly ending, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie.
You saw it?
I saw it last night, and it was I wouldn't say fantastic, but it was light and it wasn't too sophisticated or anything, but there was this air of unpredictability that I liked about it. Is like you don't know where these characters are going because there's so many elements at play, like you said about their faults and everything, that did I make the right decision to go with this person or go in the relationship with this person? But then she sees the current relationships that she has, so it's like, I should probably go explore this avenue instead. And it's fun and whimsy, basically. It's the way I would like to put it. It's just that it's easily digestible, basically. That's how I would put it, basically. It doesn't ask too much of you. It just says, you just watch and, make your own opinions of this at the end.
Such a good way to put it. Like, it's a very relaxing film to watch. Like, I just sat in my chair and I was just like hooked until the end. I was like, all right. I felt relaxed watching this movie too. Sometimes in rom-coms, like you get so into, because they usually have like the villain and you're like, ugh, I really don't like this person when they're, and it's like, even though Chris O'Dowd's character I would say he's more of like the villain, like the antagonist in this movie, but I didn't hate him.
No.
Because I understood where he was coming from,
Yeah.
too. So it was like a nice, relaxing watch for me all the way through.
I think it's a fun movie, but what really works about this movie is the chemistry between the three actors. Ethan Hawke this year is just slaying it. I mean, he was in First Reform. I don't know if you guys seen
I
that.
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you guys are, when the screeners
heard
come
of it.
rolling around,
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
to
Ready.
watch it,
We're
okay?
ready.
It's not a feel-good movie like this one,
Oh.
but he gives an amazing performance, probably one of the career best
Wow.
of him. Terrific.
I'll have it. Yeah.
This movie, though, in a weird way, and I don't know if you guys feel this way, watching this and watching Chris O'Dowd's character, does it remind you a little bit about what we do for a living? How like we become,
found that ironic,
how
yeah.
we become like so obsessed with something that we love. Like we're always ingrained in film, and
Yeah.
we're always talking about it and obsessing over it.
And it kind
Yeah.
of blinds us
And,
to.
and I often,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a parallel.
me and
Yeah.
Wendy are both married, and
Yeah.
I know that every once in a while I feel like I have to take Ashley away, and I'm sure your husband needs to take you away to
mean,
get away from everything and
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, like luckily we have a lot of the same interests, so
Yeah.
we like we're gonna go see movies on the weekends anyways. But it's more of like it's more like me where I'm like I gotta create content every day, I gotta shoot something, So this movie is like a nice reminder to be like, don't end up like that. Don't build a room of shrines of whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I don't have that.
I agree. I just thought I saw this at Sundance, and it's not the greatest movie in the world, but it's so feel good and
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah,
light
that's-
and it's
that's
so
another way to put it.
charming that you just can't help but fall in love with it. And those characters they sell it. It's a 3-person movie, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another
really is.
there's another person that comes in, but really it's the main
It's a
3
three-person.
people on the
Yeah.
poster that make it work.
Yep.
So for my pick, very quickly, you guys have not seen this movie. If you're tired and you're just looking for something dumb, dumb fun is how I would describe this movie. And it does, in a weird way, have kind of a love story in it. It's kind of weird and unexpected. But it's called The Package. And it's a movie which I don't know if does the trailer
Package.
does the trailer actually give this away? Because
No, it doesn't.
some people said it does and some people said it doesn't. Let's just say a bunch of friends go out into the woods, an accident happens, and the aftermath of that accident takes up the remaining 75 minutes of this movie. What I appreciated about this film was that it just went for it. Like,
Yeah.
it knew it was stupid, and it just kept getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And I just was like, you know what? This is enjoyable because it's so damn stupid. Like, it wasn't trying to be like, oh, we're going to be really smart here. We're going to do something really creative. It's just like, how can we take this scenario,
Yeah.
make it happen in the first place, and then keep going with it? And the extremes that they went with this movie is ridiculous. So I'm curious. I don't. It's not it's not a great film. Like, this is not like somewhere I'm like 10 out of 10. It's like a nice like 6.57, but it's just an enjoyable dumb movie. If you're into recreational activities, probably best enjoyed on them
Okay.
or drunk or something like that. But I just really, really.
Excellent suggestion.
I don't really engage in either, but I found myself, maybe it was just the mood I was in. I went along with it. I
That's so
expected to
funny.
hated it.
Yeah.
I
It's on
expected
my.
it.
I added it to my list on Netflix. So
I'll
that's
put it on
what we're watching
my
this
queue.
weekend.
Yeah. And then you can say, Scott, you have terrible taste. You have terrible taste. But you like Crazy Rich Asians, so you're okay.
Yeah.
Moving on to our retro rewind. This is very weird, okay? So a little spoiler for this is that we all picked a romantic comedy from the year 1999.
It's not planned. It
No, it
planned.
really wasn't.
unintentional.
It was really unintentional. But it was so strange because when I saw those two and I Googled them and I said, I gotta look and see if I could find one from 1992. And there was actually like 2 or 3 that I could have talked about. So I'm like, perfect, sold.
so funny.
Wendy, which is your pick?
I picked. Oh God, I can't remember what I picked. She's All That.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, what did I pick? Pick She's All That. Rachel Lee Cook, Freddie Prinze Jr., who I've had the pleasure of meeting. He's a very nice guy.
Yes.
And it's just like, your I don't want to say run of the mill, but it's a Cinderella. It's a Cinderella story where the school, I would say like the nerdy geeky, where back then it wasn't cool. It is now.
Oh yeah,
she's
yeah,
art,
right.
she's really into art.
Right.
And then the poor thing, and she's just a victim of a horrible bet. But the outcome of that is the guy actually saw her for who she was and fell in love with her. And the bad thing is, and you kind of see this play out in Crazy Rich Asians too, where the girls who wanted to be with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character really try to sabotage everything that she did or what she's doing, pretended to be her friend, got her to kind of like lower her guards and trust them, and then just like wiped out her feet from under her. And I was just like, that's not nice. And like, I love the antagonist in this one because she's just that like high school beautiful, like the plastics kind of like in Mean Girls. Like she's just like, she was perfect because I was like, man, yeah, like if I was in high school, like I want to be her too. And she's so cool. But she's not the nicest person. So I just like it's like a nice, well-rounded movie where the girl at the end stands up, and just she's like, I can't be who I am. Still got the guy. Even if I didn't have the guy, who cares? I learned my lesson, and here is me moving forward from this. And I just like, it's just like a nice, fun 90s, like just to think back, and I was like, man, like these movies were so good. What happened to them?
Yes, yes, very true. Michael, what's your pick?
My pick is 10 Things I Hate About You. And this was one of the movies where I was transitioning from 8th grade to high school. So, like, going back to the Always Boys I've Loved Before, it gave me a distorted vision of what high school could be like, I guess. And, well, not so much because then I saw all the cliques, but then it wasn't as aggressive, I guess. But the film is based on the Shakespeare play Taming of the Shrew, basically, and Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger star in it, and both of them are basically pawns in this way of getting to this one girl,
Bianca.
See, it's escaping my mind right now. But Bianca, and that's who Gordon-Levitt's character wants to date. But in order for her to date, she has to get Kat to date. And so it's just like intertwining story of how to make this actually work, and it actually works. And it should be confusing, but no, it actually works because if we all read the play, it kind of plays out like that, but more in a contemporary, if I can say contemporary kind of way. And what I love most about this is it felt all the performance felt genuine and sincere, and Heath Ledger and
Julia Stiles,
had so much fantastic chemistry with each other. You could tell that even though they had this rough exterior, that even though they were pawns, they were lowering their guard, and they were slowly starting to fall for each other, even though parts of their relationship started to crack because of honesty or mistakes, like not mistakes, but circumstantial things, or it was revealed like, oh, you used me, sort of thing. But in the end, it plays out like a typical high school rom-com where the right people fall in love with each other, and the villain gets what he deserves. So yeah.
Very true. Very true. I love both those picks, by the way. I think they're great. I own both of them. I'm pretty sure I own both of them on Blu-ray. My pick is a little bit random. It's something that I feel is a little bit more underappreciated, but it's also, I think, has become a cult classic, and that is Blast from the Past.
Oh, wow.
I've never seen this, actually.
Oh,
wow.
So
this is going to be great.
So it stars Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone,
Yes.
and also Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek. And Christopher Walken and Sissy Spacek are the mother and father to Brendan Fraser's character. And it takes place, I think, and it starts off in the 50s. There's all this notice that they're going to drop the bomb, the nuke. The world's going to end, and they build a bomb shelter. And they plan on living there. They have food supplies because Christopher Walken's a very wealthy guy. He's been planning this for years. He knew something was going to happen. And what happens is that one day they hear a noise upstairs. You know, they start building on the property, and they comes out of the bomb shelter, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he's going around the city, and he's trying to find his whereabouts, trying to find food and all this stuff, and essentially he goes to a pawn shop to try to auction off some baseball cards in order to get some money for groceries. At the pawn shop, he meets Alicia Silverstone's character, who thinks he's a complete weirdo, but he's an innocent, nice guy. And they happen to just kind of have this weird, strange dynamic with one another. And it's the fish out of water comedy, but it's also like a romantic comedy where the two of them just have this dynamic, this terrific dynamic where you just fall in love with both of them. He's such a Brendan Fraser had such a long career in the 90s of playing these adorable characters, like from Encino Man to even George of the Jungle, like Dudley Do-Right. He was like that bumbling guy who just kind of like you loved. And I thought this movie was so creative and so different. Like, you know, it does follow the same, again, just like all these other movies, it follows the same kind of predictable storyline in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the end, the story that it's being told is very unique. It's very different. Even today, we haven't seen another movie quite like it, where they take the story and they try to replicate it. There hasn't been another movie like this. And Dave Foley is in the movie from The Kids in the Hall, and as the gay brother, and I thought he was just fantastic as well. I love this movie so much. I have the poster in my house, and it's just I really highly recommend it if you have not seen it.
That's awesome. I think I feel like I need to rewatch.
Yeah, now that you
it's been a
recommended
minute since I've seen it. Yeah.
I mean, 1999. So there you go. And then so to kind of like wrap this up, we got about 5 minutes left on the show. So our special topic, of course, is going to continue what we've been talking about all show, is romantic comedies. So why don't we do a brief kind of like, let's do about like a minute and a half each. We'll start with you, Michael. What is 2 or 3 of your favorite romantic comedies of all time?
Of all time, well...
I know, I didn't prepare you for this.
No, it's okay. One that immediately comes to mind is when I watched it in film history class. It's called, I just had it, It Happened One Night.
It Could Happen One Night? Yes.
With Clark Gable.
Fantastic.
That was... I've watched romantic comedies before, but it was something about it that was just so magical, so I guess retro. It was so that felt it just appealed to me. I don't know what I can how I can describe it, but it was just like I've never seen a film like this before, and maybe because it was the black and white, maybe because it just felt so old and everything like that. It spoke to me in a way that it's indescribable.
How about for you, Wendy? You got one?
I like my brain kind of literally went dead when you're like, pick one. I'm like, and I don't want to pick the same one that I talked about, so I'll just pick one that I've seen multiple times.
Okay.
That I probably need a new DVD because like I've worn it out at this point. My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh yeah.
If that's considered as it's like the classic, modern rom-com of like the best friend, you falling in love with the best friend, pretending to be happy that he's found love elsewhere and it's not you, and then trying to ruin his wedding, because you're like, no, I'm the one for you, I'm right for you, not her, don't choose her, me, with the classic line, choose me. And like this is literally one of the most like movies, one of the movies I quote the most, because Cameron Diaz was hilarious in this movie.
One of her best performances, I think.
Loved her.
I think so too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I loved her in this, and she went from this like happy giddy girl, and I was like, is she not going to see where Julia Roberts is coming from? She's coming for her man, and you can't help but like her character. Usually when it's like the best friend in love with the other best friend who's about to get married, the movie tends to make you want to not like the girl. You find something wrong with her, like she's mean or she's trying to marry him for his money or whatever it is, right? And this isn't the case in this movie, and she's just a sweetheart. And then at the end, you're kind of like, Julia Roberts, man, you're screwing up. Like now she's got to fix the relationship with her best friend. She's got to try to mend their relationship, and she's got to try to, I guess, get back in Cameron Diaz's good graces. So it was just, there's a lot of layers happening in this movie, and it's just fun all the way through.
And it has that great scene where they sing at the table.
Oh,
That's
my
like
God.
like my favorite scene. Like I haven't
So
seen
many
this movie in
scenes.
like 10 to 15 years, but I remember that scene.
Yeah.
Like I remember
Yeah.
watching that movie with my mom, and that scene came on, and everyone just clapped along. And
Yep.
and
You have to rewatch that.
And
Yeah,
like,
it's-
gimme.
I do. I think that movie is terrific and very. I mean, not underrated anymore. But at the time, it was not a very big hit. I remember it wasn't that.
I don't know, because like, all my friends were talking about it, so
Maybe just it wasn't at the box office. I remember it didn't
Maybe.
do that well.
maybe I saw, when did that movie come out?
Gosh,
I don't remember. I may have seen it on afterwards.
Yeah.
Like when
So it became a
it
cult classic.
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
My favorite one is Love Actually by far.
Oh.
I love Love Actually because it basically knows exactly what it is, right? And it takes every single love story that we know from every single romantic comedy, love story, whatever it is, and it just blends them together.
Yeah.
And I mean, Hugh Grant as the Prime Minister and his relationship with the secretary lady there, Colin Firth, and like going after the what is it, the maid? I forgot what it is.
Yeah, I think-
Housekeeper.
Housekeeper. They're just dynamic chemistry as well. The whole thing with Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson, just a fantastic
Good
story.
cast.
Yeah,
Really good
Yeah.
cast.
and Richard Curtis, who's the director of that movie, he always makes great films. Another one that he did was About Time with Domhnall Gleeson and Bill Nighy. Bill Nighy
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Love
yeah.
Actually. Oh my God, that's Christmas song.
Oh man.
All about Christmas is all over, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's blanking on me because I'm talking about it, but as soon as I leave this, I can talk about it for 20 minutes and not flub. So, but
I still remember that, like, it's one of my favorite movie posters for rom-coms.
Oh
So
yeah,
cute.
It had all the cast.
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Little
And
boxes.
I watch it. It's one of those movies that I try to watch every year around the holidays because I feel like it never gets old. I used to watch it all the time. And it's so great. So that's it for our show today. If you like it, please like, comment, subscribe, listen to us on iTunes. We're all over the place. You can also catch me at weliveentertainment.com. I also do a show called Black Tomatoes, which is every Sunday at 5 p.m. with Carla Renata. I'm also on Meet the Movie Press, which is on Fridays at 9 o'clock right here on the Popcorn Talk Network. And guys, where can we find you? Where are you guys at?
You want to go first?
I'll go first. Michael Lee at geeksofdoom.com and that'sitla.com.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Wendy Lee Zaney, and on YouTube at the Movie Couple channel.
And hopefully in movies very soon. There you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
你的爱无法为我买单，我需要些点，只是我想要，只是我想要。
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.